Alexander the Great. This little region in southern Europe is called Macedonia. Around 2,300 years ago, King Philip II and his wife Olympia reigned over Macedonia and all Greece. They had a son called Alexander, who they brought up to be a great king. His teacher was one of the most important Greek philosophers of ancient times, Aristotle. When he was 20 years old, Alexander became king of Greece, and he set about conquering the greatest empire in the world. Leading his troops out, Alexander left for the conquest of Asia. They fought in very tight formations and used lances almost 5 meters long. Macedonian soldiers were greatly feared by their enemies. Alexander had more than 30,000 men in his army. But Darius, the king of the Persians, had an army 3 times as big. Among them were the 10,000 immortals, fearsome warriors who acted as his personal guard. In the city of Gordium, there was a legend. The person who could undo the famous knot on King Midas's chariot, known as the Gordian knot, would reign over all Asia. Many kings and princes had tried unsuccessfully to untie the knot. But Alexander unsheathed his sword and cut the knot with one slash. The prophecy was fulfilled, and Alexander defeated Darius's great army. But as well as fighting, Alexander established alliances with the countries he invaded, while uniting them in his empire through peaceful means. He liberated Egypt from the Persians and crowned himself pharaoh. He followed the local laws and religion, thus winning the support of the Egyptians. It was here that he founded the first city to bear his name, Alexandria. Afterwards, he decided to travel to India, and on the way he founded more cities to control his new territories. Alexander was famed for his bravery, as he always insisted on leading his troops into battle. For this reason, his enemies called him Alexander the Great. But his Greek soldiers were getting tired of so much war and missed their homes. Alexander's expedition lasted over 11 years. He died very young, aged 33, having conquered the largest empire of the ancient world.